and somebody was doing it in the barn because we kept on getting interrupted by a cow. We couldn't figure out how to hit his mute button, so the whole time that we were doing this for about 15 minutes, we had a cow yelling at us.
It is about 1 minute till, so I've gone ahead and started the live stream.
Just a heads up as well, Bob Campbell gave us a call today or sent us an email today indicating that he will not be on tonight.
Hang on a minute here.
I got 7 o'clock, Kelly, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm not quite as talented as Steve. I can use links a little bit, but I need some printed agendas too. So I forgot to print the one off. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I got you. That's a talent you got there, Steve.
I'm halfway between being able to effectively use the links and do what I need to do, and halfway between still old school. So
He is having multiple screens.
Yeah.
what's that?
Multiple screens.
Yeah. Well, I still got the wrong one. Son of a pup. Hang on a minute.
Right there, Steve.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Now you're being a show off.
It's still, I could still use more, to be honest with you, but 2 is definitely better than 1.
All right. Well, okay, we're going to wing it just a little bit. So let's call this meeting to order. There is a announcement that this meeting is being held electronically in honoring the Opens Meeting Act, and we are still under a what's the term? I didn't have it on the agenda. Local state of emergency in the county. So, so if we could do the Pledge of Allegiance, Ray, we have a flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Amen. All right. Well, here's our latest rendition of the Zoom meetings. Just so everybody, just a reminder, this is being sent out on YouTube. It also is being taped and saved. So the meeting is going to be archived for later viewing by anybody. There are potential to be people that can listen in, and anybody that is listening in at the comment periods by hitting *9 on your phone, you can raise your hand and be led into the meeting comments. We're not going to be muted, so just try to make sure there's no cows in the background if you can, to kind of keep it quiet at its best. And we're going to do the majority of the votes as roll calls. And when you do, Kim will call off the roll call. And when you do a motion or support, please enter or say your name first, and then when you're making the motion or support, makes it easier for the secretary. Okay, so attendance roll call. Kim, if you could call a roll call and everybody answer by here and where your physical location.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Here, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Commissioner Bean.
Here, Rosebush, Vernon Township.
Commissioner Slaney.
Here, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Commissioner Silker.
Here, Gilmore Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Camp.
Present, Vernon Township.
Commissioner Vogel,
Present, Denver Township, Rosebush, Michigan.
Commissioner Nyer,
Here, Lincoln Township.
Commissioner Brookins,
Commissioner Brookins,
Commissioner Brookins.
he's not on the call.
Okay. That completes the roll call.
Thank you. Have an agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
You should have an amended agenda in front of you, I believe.
Okay.
The amended agenda should include 4 items under other business: site plan review, planning commission bylaws, Wise Township letter of intent on master plan, and a farmland agreement.
Okay, I've got the right one. Okay. Would accept a motion for approval of the motion and a second for approval of the agenda.
Nyer,
Swaney,
so moved.
motion to approve.
Nyer, second.
Okay, Kim, if we do a roll call vote, please.
Actually, Kelly, we can do a voice vote on this. I
Okay.
believe I think we marked on the agenda where we can do voice votes for you guys. So we can just do a regular
Right.
voice.
All right. Okay. All in favor of supporting the agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, minutes from the last meeting. Any questions? If there are none, looking for a motion and support for approval of the last meeting's minutes.
Camp, so moves.
Nyer,
Swaney,
support.
support.
Do a voice vote also. So all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Liaison reports, ZBA, Phil.
ZBA did not hold a meeting, so there is nothing to report.
Parks and Rec,
Parks and Recs also did not hold a meeting, therefore there's nothing to report.
Board of Commissioners.
We had 3 meetings, I think, since our last planning commission, and everything was relatively routine and nothing really to report except for at the beginning of the first one in April, we voted on a resolution to give Chairman Horton power to negotiate on a plot of land for the jail property. And then hopefully next month I can tell you what plot that is.
Right, so that project's moving ahead.
Mhm.
Okay. The township concerns part, we'll just move that into the public comment period. And that brings us to the public comment period. So anybody from the townships, this is a time to voice your concerns, or is there any public, anybody that wants to make any public comments?
Ray, you're muted.
Mr. Chairman, there's no public on the call at this point in time. And we also did get an email from Jackie Curtis, Denver Township trustee, and she said that all was good in Denver Township.
Okay. All right. Closing the public comment period. There are no public hearings, so we're going on to other business. Site plan review 21-06. Private road. Tim?
Yeah. So I'm going to walk through this request. This request comes from Lon Marshall. It's in Denver Township, section 27. Property location address is 9654 East Jordan Road. The applicant has submitted a site plan review application for a private road to service 3 parcels. The zoning district is general agriculture ag 2. The applicant has provided us with an application along with survey of parcels to be serviced, legal descriptions for the proposed private road, and comments on the criteria the design criteria of a road servicing 3 parcels found in section 3.22 of the ordinance. He also did provide us with a draft of a road maintenance agreement that's required by ordinance. That road agreement will be filed with the clerk if and when the Planning Commission makes their approval. Application detail, this is basically a 40-acre parcel that sits in the center of the section. You have East Jordan Road that feeds into the center of the section there. It is a unimproved portion of East Jordan Road, east of Loomis Road. The 40-acre parcel is being split into 3 separate parcels. There's currently 2 residences or 2 structures on the property that are currently either non-conforming or legally conforming at said time that they were built. This kind of will bring those more into compliance by placing both parcels or both buildings on their own parcel, as well as creating a 3rd parcel, parcel C, of which I believe they're going to build on in the future. A couple areas we wanted to point out to the Planning Commission. We do have the private road is only that portion you're looking at on your screen in yellow. It ends there at the end of parcel B, or the edge of parcel B there, the eastern edge of parcel B, and it starts over at the southwest corner, right adjacent to the right of way to the unimproved East Jordan Road. There's currently a 12-foot driveway currently being used that they want to utilize as the base for this road. The applicant did receive some communication from staff in our office that the requirement is that that surface is supposed to be in the center of that right of way. They've agreed to make sure that they when surfacing that road and such, that they would move that to the center of the right of way. We did include a stipulation on that in your staff report. Additionally, there's Mr. Marshall was provided with a sworn statement on construction that's needed after completion of the road. That was given to, and we do have that as well included as part of one of the stipulations in your motion. The 3rd item that we wanted to cover was the requirement of the ordinance for house numbering ordinance, making sure that addresses get assigned properly under the ordinance, as well as the installation of signage for the private road stop signs, private road identification signs, and those such things. That's also stipulated in your motion. And then the last item for stipulation or of concern was we talked with the road commission about the unimproved Jordan Road, that half mile to the east. The road commission doesn't have any problems with the private road. However, they will have some possible conditions or some possible requirements for that public portion that the applicant will need to comply with the road commission. So we have created a stipulation there, and the applicant has been communicated to from our office as well, and has agreed to do so with the road commission. So there's 4 stipulations. Sort of in summary here in our staff report, we received the plan. You received from us all of the Planning Commission checklists. The ordinance requirements have been met. This is something that we would recommend approval. It appears to meet all the requirements of the ordinance with the following 4 stipulations or conditions, and I'll read those for the record. Number 1 is the applicant shall construct the traveled surface of the private road so that it is centered within the right of way. Number 2, the applicant shall provide a signed sworn statement certifying that the private road has been constructed in accordance with the requirements of the Isabella County zoning ordinance. Number 3, the applicant shall adhere to the uniform house numbering ordinance for private road names and shall install a stop sign, road name sign, and private road sign in accordance with the Isabella County zoning ordinance. And the applicant shall work with and comply with the road commission requirements for the undeveloped or unimproved public road right of way of East Jordan Road leading up to the private road. That's all that we have. Staff does see this as being complete application with all the requirements, just looking at those 4 stipulations of being added to a motion. Remember, this is a site plan review, so it is not a public hearing. It is simply if they meet the requirements and they've met all the standards of the zoning ordinance, it's one of those items that you would just go ahead and approve. And staff has reviewed that and they do meet those.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Marshall, anything you'd like to add to this?
Nothing at this time. I think he did a really great job describing it.
All right, thank you. So, commissioners, any questions, comments, either for staff or for Mr. Marshall regarding this? All right. Well, that being the case, would entertain a motion and support for this, and please state your name before the motion and before the support.
Swaney, move to approve a site plan review 21-06 as submitted. Shall I, with the added 4 conditions of Isabella County administration or staff?
All right.
Or would you like me to read them?
I think I just read them for the record,
Right.
so that's
Okay.
official.
O'Neill, second.
We have a motion and a second, and we do need a roll call vote for this. So Kim, if you would, please.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Bean,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Nyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Silker,
Yes.
Commissioner Camp.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carries.
Great.
Mr. Marshall, Ray Johnson from our office will be in touch with you soon.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies. Goodbye.
Okay, Planning Commission bylaws.
Yeah, so as you recall, we established a subcommittee. That subcommittee to look at the bylaws was Jerry Nyer, Ann Silker, and Adam Brookins. After staff had taken a look back at the bylaws, they weren't maybe out of date as far as we thought they were. So there was some pretty minor changes that were there. So instead of holding a Zoom meeting, we did make the changes and send those over to the subcommittee. Subcommittee did review those. We did have a little bit of feedback, answered a couple of questions, and I think they were ready to move that forward. So if Ray wants to put them up, the changes, I'll kind of walk through them quickly with you. There was a few changes that were grammatical, which don't really require any action other than just for us to clean it up. And we will I'll just kind of move by that. They're marked in the document. You probably see them in the document you received. But I'm really going to kind of talk about the few substantive changes that we did have. On page 1, obviously, the only substantive change that's there would be to update the date as of the date that we would adopt in the updated bylaws. On page 2, we have an affirmative word there that we're just kind of wordsmithing and changing. It's a requirement of yours to review site plans and special uses. So we're just striking the word will and putting in shall. On page 3, under D, we have, again, just sort of a wordsmithing activity there where we're adding the word to in between administers and part 91. And more substantively in that same paragraph, D1, the very last sentence is being added just to clarify that the board has authorized the enforcing agency to be my department or the community development department inspections department, just for clarification purposes. And that's for part 91, soil erosion sedimentation control. One item we did miss, I'm going to have Earl scroll down. Yep. See above it, we did miss this and we didn't put it in, but I'm just going to address it here with you. We only have 11 townships notified there, are identified there. We do have Sherman Township, which came back to us 3 or 4 years ago that we missed. So we'll be changing that 11 over to a 12 and adding Sherman Township right there where Ray was between Nottawa and Vernon Township in alphabetical order. So those are the only 2 changes we have on that page. And then we go all the way down to page 8 under order of business. You see, again, there was other changes there that Roll just scrolled by. They were really just grammatical issues that we were taking care of. But under order of business, the only thing changed here is really roll call. Again, outside of capitalizations and grammatical stuff, we're now calling roll at that point in our meeting between Pledge of Allegiance and approval agenda. So we are going to add that. So those are really the only substantive changes. It's that date, a couple wordsmithing activities, adding that soil erosion language in there, and then adding the order of business, the roll call. So those are the only items that we're looking to have updated. As you read the bylaws towards the very end of it, this action, you can change your bylaws and your rules by an action of the majority of the membership. So you would need 5 affirmative votes to approve this. And I think it's satisfactory to staff, and I believe it was satisfactory to the committee, but we'd be willing to take any questions that you have on that at this time.
Yeah, just
Quick,
one.
so sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
So for the roll call added, that will be continued on for in-person meetings.
Yeah, we'll continue to call roll. We never really called roll before. We just identified who was present and who wasn't. When we go to in-person, we just won't have to identify our location any longer.
Thank you.
And one of the question that was raised, I think Commissioner Silker raised it, was, should we consider having, a different agenda item or a different agenda, maybe, I believe this was her question, relative to the video or electronic meetings that we're having. We don't need to really put anything in our bylaws with regard to the electronic meetings because the Open Meeting Act physically changed and was modified to allow for and require this. And I believe that requirement will go away at some point. And so therefore, at this time, we didn't feel like there was any need to put anything with regard to electronic meetings in there. It's already covered under the Open Meetings Act.
My one question would be in the section D1 where the substantial add was there a reasoning behind that? Was there a thought process behind that? What spurred that need?
The D1 where we added the agency, the enforcing agency being the Community Development Department,
Right.
Just more of a clarificational issue. We talk about soil erosion in a couple locations throughout our ordinance, and we just felt that it was appropriate that maybe anybody reading your bylaws and your rules, or even you members, understand that the county board has authorized this department to be the administrators or the enforcing agency for Part 91. More reference than anything.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments?
I just got a question. Oops. What in the future, being that this is somewhat successful and gives the opportunity of people, not only the commissioners, but the maybe the public, such as Mr. Marshall did tonight, would it be prudent to have an ability, whether we're in person or doing a Zoom, allowing a hybrid type meeting to go on, or give that capability? And would we need to look at modifying our bylaws for that? Yeah, so Jerry, I fully understand what you're saying, and I think it's a great option to have. That unfortunately is in state law. So if the state law right now, when they modified the Open Meetings Act, it's in there temporarily. I believe that'll be coming back out. However, I do believe that we've learned something, through this process. And I do believe that there may be some lobbying down in Lansing to maybe leave or create some hybrid options that may stay there permanently. And if they do at that time, then I would say we would want to modify our bylaws, but we would probably want to wait for that state law to get in place before, the permanency of that state law to be in place before we would add it into our bylaws. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Questions or comments? Hearing none, we take a motion and support for the bylaw change.
Nair, support updating the bylaws.
Vogel second.
Okay. All in favor of passing this motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. All right, motion carries.
All right, we'll put a clean copy of that together and we'll get it to you in your next set of packets. You'll have that information for your binders.
Okay. Wise Township letter of intent.
Yeah, so this is sort of a housekeeping item. As you know, by now, the required law requires that communities who are looking to update their master plan within the county need to notify the county planning commission if there is one. And we are one, so therefore they are notifying us of their intent to update their master plan in Wise Township. They will be providing us in the future with electronic copies of the modifications and changes, which we are required to take a look at and review. So no real action item for this, just on the agenda in the record so that they have covered their bases with providing the notice to you.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone? Okay. PA 116 farmland agreement for Pat and Marge Horn.
Yeah, so we have Pat and Marge Horan submitting an application for a farmland agreement. It's in Section 5 of Isabella Township. The application is for 13.7 acres. The application, as you recall, for farmland agreements is just a review of ours again, a review and a consensus to send over back to the clerk. The application does appear to be complete. The property is zoned Ag 1 and is in the planned master plan for ag conservation. It is a 10-year contract being proposed, and it does appear to be complete. It is contiguous. I believe we included a map for you that it is contiguous to the west with some other PA 116 lands. So it's something that we would, everything looks complete, and we would just be forwarding back on to the clerk that you've taken a look at it to do your due diligence.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone? All right. I would say so consensed.
All right, we will move that back on to the clerk.
Okay. All right, staff comments.
Staff, I think you had a public comment there first for staff comment.
Pardon me?
I think you had a public comment again there before staff comment.
Well, there should be. All right. Public hearing, public comment. Is there any, we'll open that up. Is there anybody in the public comment section?
There is nobody else on the call at this point in time.
All right. Close the public comment section. Staff comments.
Staff does not have any additional comments tonight.
All right. Commissioner comments. Ann? Any
No,
comments or
not
questions?
tonight.
All
Not
right.
tonight.
Jerry?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Jerry?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
All right. Kyle?
No comments. Just one quick question. We are a virtual meeting. What needs to be cleared before it goes back to an in-person meeting? And I think just because I came on the board in the middle of all this, I don't know.
Yeah, so right now, the county is operating under a local state of emergency. I know that things are changing as of yesterday, today. Things are moving a little bit fast here. I'll be notified from the administration office at such time when we'll be back to in-person meetings or of any changes. Currently, we're operating, tomorrow the same way we've been operating for the last year and 2 months. So we'll let you know. I assume we're going to have some meetings in the coming weeks to get a plan together about how we get moving back in the other direction or the new direction.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Bill?
Nothing at all.
All right. Steve?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
All right. Tim?
Nothing, thank you.
All right. I do have just one question. I see Rosebush is in, the village Rosebush is under the county zoning, correct?
No, they're under their own zoning that they're under the county for building construction.
Okay, so that was where my question was that Dollar General that went up there. I
Yeah, that-
assume they took care of their own stuff. That's why I never
Yeah, they did the
For
zoning.
us.
And my office here handled the construction side of it.
got it. Got it. Okay. Well, that's all my comments. So at this point, see there's nothing left on the agenda. I'm going to call the meeting adjourned. And
All right.
we'll see
Thanks, everybody. It's good
next
to see you.
month.
See you in a month.
Bye.
See you next month.